Hi, welcome back to the Power BI Custom Visuals course, and in this module we're going to be looking at the overview by CloudScope. Now this one obviously is developed by CloudScope, and the idea of this visual is to give you the ability to have a list of values shown in a similar Instagram format where you're kind of looking at a list of profiles, or it could be a list of products, whatever you want it to be. This visual allows you to have that look and feel where it feels like you're on Instagram. I'm not sure how many of you are users of Instagram, but it gives you that capability. The other nice thing about it is selectable. So if you click on an element within the list, it will actually click and filter other visuals within inside of your report as well. So it's a pretty quick one to show. Let's go ahead and walk you through how to use Overview by CloudScope. All right, so in this simple little example, we're going to start by bringing in the data that we're going to use for this example. And we'll do that by going up to the Get Data section, and we'll select Excel. Now, the file that we're going to use for this example is going to be this one here called Twitter Profiles. So I'll select Twitter Profiles and hit Open. And that's going to allow me to connect to this Excel workbook and the spreadsheets within inside of that workbook that we can start to use as a source. So I'll go ahead and select Twitter users within inside of that workbook and hit Load to bring this into my Power BI data model. Once I've loaded this into the data model, we'll then go and bring in the custom visual. We're going to do that through the Marketplace, which you can find by going up to the top ribbon on the very top here and selecting from Marketplace. And we can search for the Overview by CloudScope to be able to use in this example. So we're going to go ahead and search for Overview, and you should find pretty quickly here, Overview by CloudScope, which we can then add to our visualization pane. So once we add in Overview, give that a second here to add itself in, there it is, we can now leverage and use that as part of our report. So if I select the Overview, and let's say we want to make us take up about half the screen size here, we can then plug in the different items that we want into that visual. And you're going to place all of the fields underneath this one option here called Account Field. So everything's going to go underneath that one level. So what we're going to do is I'm going to check off and bring in things like the bio. We're looking at Twitter data, even though we're going to put this into a more Instagram type format. I'll bring in the tweets. Let's bring in followers. How about the profile? Let's bring that one in. Let's also bring in the screen name, the link, and we could bring in verified if we want. I'm going to go ahead and bring it in just to show you what it would look like. Keep in mind, this is not a Twitter profile, so it might not bring in verified quite like we would expect it to. It's going to return verified as a true or false statement, so not exactly what we're looking for, but let's go ahead and bring it in just so you can see. Now we've got this big list of all the fields that we've selected that's brought in, and to actually tell it how to use those fields, we're going to go underneath the Format section. So under the Format section, you'll see there's a column mapping area, and if you expand that section, you can actually tell it each of the column names that you've imported. So you can see bio is a column name I had, tweets is a column name I had, and you're now going to map those columns to fields within inside of the visual. So for example, bio, if I wanted to, I can change it so that bio maps to biography, and I can change it so tweets maps to data. And followers, you can also have multiple items that map to data, so I'm going to bring in followers underneath the data section. I have the profile image URL. I can map that to a profile picture URL, and you can see it's starting to build out here some. I can map in the screen name here if I want to, so I can select screen name and maybe make this something like the username. And then I have regular name field here. And you can see on the left it keeps building things out, so I can pick a URL if I wanted to, so maybe I bring in a website URL that will appear if there is a website URL on that profile. Not many of them here. Here's one in this case. And if I wanted to, I could also use whether or not they're verified. Now, in this case, I probably won't use verified, but want to show you what it looks like. Again, this is an Instagram visual that we're trying to plot out Twitter data on it. So if I select the verified option, you'll see it just returns back true or false. So if you like that, great. If you don't like that, no big deal. You should note that there is a Twitter profile that CloudScope also makes, a visual that looks like Twitter profiles where it'll actually show the check mark if they are verified. I'm going to go ahead and remove that one for this example, not really needed here. Now, a couple other things we can do in here, of course, I can sort this. So maybe I want to sort this by the number of tweets. So sort by tweets. And I can see the user that has the most tweets up top here. So Jacksonville, Florida Times Union here. Looks like Big Cat Country, Alex, somebody here. So there's a way you can, of course, sort this. And you could also select and click on the links right here. If I clicked on this, this would actually launch open a web browser that would navigate to the link that's on the profile of the user. You can also see the number of tweets, the number of followers shown here, which looks quite nice. And then if you wanted to, you can also make some adjustments to the size and the appearance of not only the image on the left-hand side, which you can see is a little pixelated because it's taken from a smaller image, But you can adjust the size of that image. You can adjust the size of the headings here. By doing that, or how do you do that, is by going underneath the formatting section right here. So if I go underneath formatting, you can see here that I can change things like the image size. So if I want to knock down the image size, say to 100 size, you can see you can knock that down a little bit. You can also knock down the size of the body if you wanted to as well, or the size of the font header, the headline there. You can increase or decrease that if you wanted to. So really up to you how you'd like to do that. But that's really it. It's a pretty simple way to work with this visual. You can see it's not very difficult to be able to build out, and you can plot multiple items under the data section, and then you can have the bio and the name show up in the body section here. So nice little visual. It's very simple. The one last thing I'll show you can do with this is if I bring in some other visual, let's say just a simple table here, and in the table I bring in just some information about the data that we're looking at, I can then actually select items inside of the overview, and you can see it filters the table that we have on the right-hand side. So very nice, very easy interaction that you can select or deselect and see all or fewer values depending on what you select. I'm going to go ahead and delete the table for this example. Just want to show you have that interaction where you can select items and see how they cross-filter or cross-highlight other values. That's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed this very quick demonstration of the overview by CloudScope. Look forward to showing you our next custom visual in our next module.